Okay, looks like I'm on YouTube and Instagram. One of these days I'm going to get used to this stuff. Oh, hey Vince, how are you? See if anybody can hear me or see me on YouTube. If I can type. But who knows? It says it's working. Okay, let's see if this works. That's what we're all here to see anyway, not me. Yeah, lighting's pretty good. Okay, awesome. It's on and it's working. Okay, I'm up and living on both, which is good. If you're on Instagram and you can go on YouTube, the picture will be bigger and better probably, but I think I have it all worked out. I've got my safe zones for Instagram. If I go big, and I'll do that for close-ups, but mostly I'll stay back. I feel like I'm a pilot trying to figure out all these different screens and stuff, but I think I got it working. You'll see that I definitely have the lower thirds on. I don't know why it's there. I might not be able to remove it. So yeah, so here's the pens, here's the close-up camera. I can broadcast what you're seeing. And then I do have the nib cam as well, which is going to come in handy. I'm going to do some feed shortly about these lovely grinds as well. It's super sensitive, obviously, the little tiny close-up camera, so hopefully it doesn't give anybody motion sickness, but that's for a later date anyway. For now, we're going to talk about pens and the new model. So let's get started here. Okay. Yeah, DC. I'm not ready. No, I'm just making pens for DC. Hopefully, I'll get going on that soon. Oh, Russell, you really don't want to see me on a big screen. Okay, Instagram. I'm able to. Let's see here. It may actually even be better here. I don't know if you can see it's gonna be hard to see the facets. Oh, I gotta get better at this stuff. Okay, there we go. So this is the new pen. It's kind of a mix of two pens, the Nona 14 and the Christopher 13 Junior. So I just thought, it's a logical. I did the Christopher 14 with the facet cap, So I decided to do the 13 Junior. Just I like the kind of proportions, and the cap doesn't roll away. Not 100% sure yet. I think the cap shape might have to change a bit. I made the first batch of 20, so the cap is a little bit thicker. It's nice faceted, 9 facets. It's hard to see. I gotta get the light just right and you can see the facets. But really, I like the way the facets kind of play off the material. And then obviously close it up. If you can see there, if you go for the next, well, till tomorrow morning at probably 10 or so, if you're here on the live and you go, you can get to the page before anybody else, and you'll get to have first crack at these pens. It's londonpenco.com/new, and faceted is the password to get onto that page. It's password protected until tomorrow morning, so anybody that attends live gets first shot at them. So that's the new pen, of course. I then have some faceted cap Christopher 14s. So this is the 14 model body and section with a faceted cap. Then there's just a couple of regular 13s. Yeah, just a couple regular 13s. Hopefully I don't get those in the wrong order. So there's the Christopher 13s. Actually, I'll go over here. 13s here, 13 juniors. Then there's a bunch of 14s, all in my new pour. So these were all, well, a couple are old. This bottom row here is a bunch of my new stuff. So I call that one Limoncello. This one doesn't have a name yet. This one doesn't have a name yet. That's my Fopal, and no name. Blood in the Water. I'm calling this Muddy Water. Thought about maybe Chocolate Sundae or something as well, but you know, again, if you're the first to buy it and you want to change the name, let me know. Green Dragon Eye, another unnamed Muddy Water, an unnamed, and the rest of the bottom row are all new Nonas. There's some pretty spectacular ones in there. Yeah, it's I've been experimenting with Dragon Eye. I have a bunch of juniors that I haven't sanded yet, where I put in a lot of clear yellow to test with. So that'll be a fun experiment once it's done. Okay. If anybody wants to see anything in particular, starting at the top in this side, it goes 1 to 24, and then 25 to 45. So if you want to see any individual pen, I can pull it out and take a close-up look at it. One in particular I definitely want to show you is, where is it? Okay, I'm losing my mind. Oh yeah, this one. So there was a little confusion. I couldn't figure out what this was because there's not very much white in it, and there's a bit of gold, but it's actually confirmed by Jonathan Brooks to be a black cherry koi. Just really, really dark colors. Which is neat. So yeah, that's black cherry koi. Okay, the top right of... So we're going to have to... You're going to have to give me more directions because my left and right, these cameras are all screwed up. So I'm going to assume you either top right of the juniors, maybe the PM1. I have to wait a second. There's quite a delay, so. Okay, so I got somebody in YouTube wants to see the green, top right, number 21. 21 would be this one, but I don't, this one isn't green, so I think you mean the green one, which is this one. And this is one of Turnt Penco's. I believe it's one of Carson's. I call him Carson question mark because there's like 25 of them and I'm never going to remember them all, and I don't do a good job, but it's a pretty neat pen. Yeah, I figured it was 20, so it's definitely this one. And it's a 13. Christopher 13. And Turnt Penco material for sure. Carson 20 something. My top right, one of the juniors. Maybe you mean this one, which is the one of Brooks's many. I think this is probably their pink or regular, but it's definitely Brooks. It's a nice junior, really nice. Nice and dark. I like them when they have more color. Sometimes you get a lot of white in these abalones, but this one's really nicely done. There we go. I'm getting the hang of it again. Takes a little while to get the hang of it, but I'm getting the hang of it. So there's one problem is I got this lower thirds and no way to turn it off because I don't know how I even turned it on, but I'm learning. I gotta hit up my good friends who do this all the time and just, maybe even do some practice streams and just do some chatting and writing and maybe look at some different nibs and practice using it. Again, the close-up camera, again, it's mostly for I have to keep with the Instagram safe area. Another one that's been popular has been that's Turnt Penco Tim Crow's Bog Monster, and that's just in a 13. Yeah, in a 13. Had a couple on the site, they sold right away. So yeah, like I said, 1 to 24, 25 to 48. That last one down there is a golden blue jay. Let me see if I can turn that off. Okay, so YouTube is still working, which is good. And Instagram's still working. So if you have any questions about the pens or any other questions, just fire. I'm going to stick around for a while and show people any pens they want to see. The nib cam, this is actually one of Mark Bacchus's Broad Architects. Let me just see. I'll switch it to the... So you can really see how that grind is done. Sorry, it's really sensitive to motion, but works really well. But you can see that grind. Oh, go back to that view. Pastel. Yeah, I don't know if it's been made public yet, but the pastels may be making a comeback. I may or may not have an order on its way of some pastel PM1, which is just a great seller, and I don't think the market was ready for it to leave yet, so I have Mark's Turkish needlepoint. I have a couple of those left, I believe. I have not seen the script. I got a call with Mark in the next week or so to see what grinds I'm going to get in my next batch. So well, you're one of the lucky ones, Pencopia. I think I had, all in all, maybe over 100 pastels that I sold, and I probably easily could have sold 2 more. Transparent pens, I have... Oh, let me see if I can find it. Yeah. I have this material. Now this is totally just like fresh off the lathe, hasn't been sanded inside or out. And this is, I'm calling it Dragon Spit because it's pretty clear and it goes along with my green Dragon. So it's got green, yellow, and blue, and it's quite transparent. But I don't know when I'll get to actually sanding, and I don't even know how many I made. There's definitely one kicking around here or at the other shop that's almost like completely transparent green and yellow that barely has any blue in it at all. So yeah, this will, you know, you can see it's really transparent. Once it gets polished inside and out as well, it's going to be extremely nice. The problem with transparent is the insides, the polishing is worse than the outsides. have some of my other stuff that, again, it's some of these got chips on them, so I have to fix the chips and then sand and polish. That's a new one. That's a new one. That's a new one. That's a new one. So those will be hopefully saved. Yeah, there's a. No, I guess I got that one. Another one. So I had these were all the ones I made before Christmas. I have some issues with some bubbles with some, and this batch I unfortunately had a chipping problem. Didn't notice it till halfway through. So I have to fix all those chips and bubbles and see if they're going to survive. And then I have a bunch that I'm sanding and polishing as well. So this one I call Limoncello, and it's just inspired by a cocktail that I had in Australia, which was quite tasty. So it's just lemon and yellow and white, but there's quite a bit of translucent and a bit of pearl in there. I'm gonna have to try and get a little better lighting for this, but yeah, it's really neat close up. I don't know if it'll get any better as it gets closer. Oh yeah, it's gonna focus. But you can kind of see the translucent bits in. So that's Limoncello. This is one I had made, and then I think both Bob and Tim made a similar one, all different whites and white colored stuff in it. It turned out nice too. Strawberry swirl. Oh, so you think this one looks like strawberry? Yeah, and I'm not much of a drinker. I've probably had like 3 drinks this year, and 2 of them were limoncello while I was away. But it is quite tasty. Oh, and an apple cider. I had that while I was away. That would almost make me start drinking again. Yeah, Neapolitan probably needs a little more vanilla. But that's a neat one. I never thought about maybe trying some ice cream colors. I've got another 80-pound kit, so I'm going to be doing some casting, and I might do it live. It would only be Instagram live. I could post it to YouTube eventually. But I have this little device that works on wireless that would work off a webcam that I could take down to the other shop. And then this is an interesting one. It actually, in the pictures, it looks darker, and it's really hard, but it's got lots of, I put lots of silver sparkle in it. And so, it's obviously a space theme, but everybody's got a galaxy this, a galaxy that. So it's currently unnamed. quite like it. Black, and I don't think that's black. I think that's just a really, really dark blue. And then, of course, the Dragon Eye. Now, this one has a bit of clear. This is one of the ones that had a little less of the yellow clear in it. That's just, part of the making process. But, this is still one of my favorite materials. It's one of the ones I actually wrote down the recipe and I can make it every time, sort of the same way. Then this one, I don't know what I'm going to call this one, but it is, it's pretty translucent in the cap. Surprisingly, so much so that we got to polish the inside a bit, but it is quite nice too. I'm gonna have to get somebody who knows video lighting to come over and help me at the studio and get a softer light, because I got two big soft lights, but I'm still getting a lot of reflections. Oh yeah, that is nice. I had another idea for one sort of along that line, but I'm going to put some pink in it and call it not sunset, but the sunset sky. When you look the other way, you see all those really rich blues and whites and then the pink usually. So that's one I've got in my head to try. So the other thing I never know is who's actually in. Which material? 14. The ones on the bottom here, these are all my new pours. I did all these just before Christmas. That's a Dragon Eye, and then that's yet to be named. I guess if somebody buys, the first person that buys any of these, other than Green Dragon Eye and Blood in the Water, which are regulars, and Football, you're pretty much, you can pretty much name these if you want. Limoncello will stay, but the rest of them, if you prefer a different name, I'll just change it. Yeah, Russell, a stub flex, that would be interesting. I need to use my pens more. Use the special grinds. I'm going to pull one of each. Number 13. 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, yeah. You're going to want to see this one close up. So, again, primary manipulation. Ooh. That's a good angle. So this is a faceted cap, so 9 facets. But PM1. And this is a really nice one as well. It's got the really neat stuff. It's quite a lot of depth to the cap. And he's a genius, Jonathan is, at getting those translucents and opaque colors to mix in such a way that you can see into the pen. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain even, because when you're finishing them, what appears like scratches or marks, you look and it's actually deep down in the material. Oh, sorry, Pencopia. Somebody mentioned in the YouTube stream about grinds that Mark Bacchus might have, like the Turkish needlepoint, and another one he's called called a script, which is like a flexi stub, which is something I haven't heard of yet. So again, I'm going to talk to Mark hopefully in the next week or two about my next batch of his nibs. If you have requests, just go on to my website and contact page or DM me on Instagram. So yeah, that was number 13. That again, all of these PM1s are really nice examples. He changed up his mix a bit and lightened it up a bit, so it's quite nice. Yeah, I'm open to ideas. Another idea I had, Brooks did it once where he did a live and mixed a batch live on cam, did a couple of mixes, and then he did a custom pen release. Took about a year. I would want to do that, but do it a lot quicker. So the blue one, journal. The blue one, again, these are 14s, but it's just one of my new experimental mixes. And then on this side is, again, it's just one of the space themed, dark purple, blue, and lots of silver sparkle. Yeah, I quite like it. I only made 6 of each of these, so I'm not even sure what I made the other pens into yet. I'll find out in the next little while. But yeah, it's I used quite a bit of pearls in that one, I think. I can throw it on the close-up as well. Ooh. You can see the translucency to the cap. Maybe if I oh yeah, that's not the right nib, but you can see the nib through it, sort of. But you might not be able to, but I can close up. You can see the nib inside. Oop. Oh, that one's going to be on sale now. Oh, okay. That's how it works. Very strange. Wow, I just figured something out. So I can get rid of the lower thirds. I absolutely can show you the golden rule. A very classic Jonathan Brooks material. You can see the facets a little more there. Note about Nona's and facet lineup. They don't always line up perfectly. Part of that has to do with the fact that it's in the manufacturing, but if it's halfway, I usually leave it just because I like the way the facets line up when you're looking down the pen this way. I actually really like it. If it's more or less than half, then I'll adjust it, either to half or to line up. But if you have picture, you want a picture and lined up, it's really, barely a turn, because there are 9 facets, so you can always get it to work. There's probably math involved, and that you could figure it all out, but that's for smarter people than me. Yeah, I have a love-hate with Nona. I love them. I love the way they work out. I hate sanding 9 sides of both pens through 20 grits of sandpaper, but it's well worth the payoff. The bottom far right, the Golden Blue Jay. Okay, this is a Brooks, and one of Brooks's newer materials. Again, it's a Nona. It's he calls it Golden Blue Jay. Which is quite beautiful. There's some kind of light blue, dark blue, and a couple of shades of gold in there. Oh. Uh-oh. Now I'm lost. Maybe that's not... oh, no, this isn't gold. Yeah, that's definitely Golden Blue Jay. What this one is, I don't know, though. I gotta tell you, my addiction to materials has definitely come back to haunt me, because it's so hard when it comes time to post them on the internet to get them all, remember them all. Jonathan, yeah, but turned. Like I don't know what I'm going to do with Tim. He has so many materials, and he keeps coming out with more, and they're all great. But when I've got a stockpile of materials, because I don't like to just buy and make everything all at once. I like to keep it in case it's never made again. I'll make it later in other models, and it just becomes a bit of a game trying to figure out which pens or which material when I go to actually post, because you just lose track through the process. And I do make them in batches, usually of 20, 30, or 40 pens at a time. And I try, like this batch is predominantly Brooks. The experiment with the Christopher 13 Jr. faceted cap, I actually made those before Christmas, but I hadn't done the faceted cap. So the whole pen was made, and they sat for like 3 months before I actually faceted the caps. In fact, I almost just turned them into juniors because I wasn't getting to it. But I eventually got around to writing the program to run them, and it turned out quite nice. I think I might, in the next batch, I might try a slightly smaller cap. We'll see. I like how strong it is. And people will have to, if somebody buys one, they'll just have to give me their feedback and let me know whether they think it should be a smaller cap, it becomes difficult because you can't go too small because of the facets. You get really weak points. So it's a balancing act. New Brook stuff, no. Again, a lot of these were made before. There's some pretty spectacular ones. This Fubuki's still one of my favorite materials. I like the monochromatic version. It's just so neat. The patterns are so cool. And this one has lots of white in it, but lots of dark black as well. Then I made one in the new faceted cap, and it's quite dark in the cap. But again, lots on the nice dark black. I've had some that were almost all black, some that were mostly predominantly white, but these two are a good mix. The very first, if you could tell me which pen that is from 1 to 24, 1 here, 24, and then 25 to 48, if you can even approximate it, because I can't remember. Yeah, lots of sparkles in that one. This one too, lots of sparkles in the black. Is there materials no longer available today that I wish I could get my hands on? Yes, I only have 2 sticks of it left. It's the Omos blue and cream, light blue and cream. Now I made a couple of pens for DC. They're not finished yet. They're still in process. I made a couple of Nonas for DC probably in that material. And I have 2 sticks left, maybe enough for 4 more pens, and that's it. Yeah, so that's frustrating. I have lots of other really cool Omos swirl material like that, but none of that light blue and cream, which is very nice. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I would have said pastel, but it's back, so we're going to be able to get that again. Definitely. Brighter. It doesn't matter to me whether it's block or round. Round is a particular material. You have to turn the blocks round to use them, but blocks you get different patterns. Acrylic you get different patterns. I think you can get really cool stuff when it's in a block. Most of the material I have that's acrylic is cast in sheets, cut into squares. Like all of that Omos stuff with the swirls, it's all cast like that. Layered paint ones. Oh, I know what you mean. I forget the name now too. It'll be one of those brain farts. I can't remember what the material is, but I know what you mean. It comes from a paint booth, and they're Fordite. That's it. You remembered quicker than me. It's neat, but there are certain materials that I can't use just because of the process. It won't hold a thread, um, or my process is too aggressive. Cool blocks from Dank Blanks. Yeah, I've not heard of him, him or her, but that doesn't surprise me. There's so many blank makers now. I've sort of put a moratorium on purchasing right now, unless it's specific stuff from Brooks or Tim or Bob Dupress that I run out of. I just have too many. I have to start to use it up. The move before Christmas made that quite apparent. And that's why I decided to make some acrylic stuff for DC because I need to use it up. I can't save it forever, so I better start using it up. Some of it'll save, but yeah, I think you can control. I made. Let me see. I'll get your opinion on this material. I probably shouldn't because I don't know if I'd ever make it again. Can I find it? Nope. Bear with me a second. There it is. So, a long while back, I had rented my extra space to the university machining services for a big project they were doing. And we poured this material together. And it was very complicated. It needed like 3 hands to do it. But this is one of 6 blanks ever made. And the guys from the university all got pens. They all made their own pens from this material. But I made a fountain pen. They all made kit pens. So I don't know if you can see how the blue... It's kind of neat how we did it. So I may try and do this again. But we'll see. But this is a pen from my personal collection, which, you know, has some meaning because those guys were with me for 4 months, so I got to see them every day as they did a big project. But we made that at a lunch hour. Yeah, Russell, there's there's an influx of both blank makers and pen makers right now, I think, and that's all part of the economy and people wanting to work from home and find new things to do. But if you want to see any other pens close up, let me know. Again, you've got till tomorrow morning with that password to get onto the new page and get a head start on anybody else. I will make the new page live and make an announcement sometime tomorrow morning, probably around 9 when I wake up and have a coffee. Yeah, Russ, that's why, and again, I'm going to make some of my own materials looking for a magic combination that hits and I'm not going to be a blank seller because that's just not. I don't love it enough to want to do it in large quantities. I enjoy it. I enjoy the creative process, and I like to make 6 of one blank. 48, yeah. And this is the one I believe is the Golden Blue Jay. Oops, that's not what you want to see. So that's the faceted 9 facets. It's a really neat material. Oh, I guess I gotta cut those fingernails too. And that's another thing. I do get people ask me all the time. They were like, "Why isn't the section polished as shiny as the outside?" And for me, it's just a grip thing. I've always found if I do a high polish on the section, it's kind of slippery. So I do. It gets polished, but doesn't. We just don't polish it to a huge high sheen. It can be done though, if somebody really wanted it done, but. Let's just okay. I've worked with students. Well, these they weren't actually students. They were the professional guys from their machine shop. But I get what you mean. Help them start their pen business. Been a mentor. I wouldn't say a mentor. I've helped people whenever they have questions. I'm always open to answer their questions. All the guys in the pen world, we're all very good to each other. We all take the time to help each other, answer each other's questions. So yeah, this is Kristen's reflection pool. I don't know if she's going to continue to make blanks, but this was probably her best, most popular one. I sold a bunch made out of this material. So you can see the facets looking down. There you go. That's a better way to see it. But yeah, that's the reflection pool. The mentoring though, I do have a group of friends. We do have a bit of a maker group here, and I've been teaching them how to turn. We've been doing lots of kit pens. They've made pens and pencils, which are a great project for people to learn how to turn. We're going to next probably, I think they've even done some magic wands and stuff. We're gonna move on to bowls, eventually boxes, and I'm just doing it because it's fun. Gets me to turn again, and they're enjoying themselves. They help me around the shop too. So, ever take shavings from the turning and add them? No. The major reason for that, Russell, is Alumilite does not bond well to itself once it's cured. So that's why you don't see chip patterns or ribbon patterns made out of Alumilite. You will see that in acrylic, which is cast as a block, and if you take acrylic and break it up into small pieces and cast it with more acrylic, it will bond to itself chemically and be solid. If you do that with Alumilite, you're more than likely going to get something that's going to fall apart or crack or break. we've all looked into it because that's, that's one byproduct of making pens is you get lots of shavings. Now, I did have a friend that did lots of artwork with shavings that I gave her. So this is Octa or Nona or Deca Chromism from BBC Blanks. So that's got some real shine to it. Real chatoyance in that material. I would love Russell to eventually learn how to cast my own acrylics. That would be a joy because there's so many cool things you could do, different patterns. So, but if you look, you can see these are all swirls because they're all poured in a tube and mixed. You won't ever see chip patterns and stuff like that in these. I don't know if I have anything handy. Yeah, I do. Here. Just so happen to have a nice Conway Stewart material. So you see how in that material it's all chips. So they just make it, then they break it up into little pieces, and then they recast it together. And that's how this is Conway Stewart, I believe, Cerulean Blue. It's on my desk. It must have been a demo I used for something or somebody. But yeah, that's so you can see the facets. There you go. That's a beautiful material. And it's harder. So you might notice that the facets are much more defined on this pen. And it's just purely from the ability to sand and keep its shape, where the Alumilite tends to soften the edges quite a bit more. I've done some square stuff in my early casting. I did square. I'm going to do it again. For sure, I'll do it again. But again, it's a different process, and you got to set up your pressure pots differently. And you got to use different molds, and you got to do them a little thicker. So it's a skill set I want to explore. I know. My good friend at BBC Blanks, we were both taught pouring at the same time by a buddy, Mr. Butterknife. I think he was here earlier. I'm not sure if he's gone or not. He showed us both how to pour. And then BBC has taken it further and made a lot of these blanks. And these blanks all start out as blocks when they have wood in them. Again, this is an unfinished pen. It's not been sanded yet. And then, yeah, there's a couple more. So that's, to do these kind of blanks, it gets poured as a big block with a block of wood in, cut square, and then turned round, and then turned into a pen. Again, someday I'll get around to actually finishing those ones. There's another one. These, I don't think I finished these because there were some big blotches of white that I didn't quite like. But there's another one that needs to be sanded. Oh, pen copy. There's lots. One of the videos I'm gonna do in the future is I'm gonna go over these. So this is my maker collection. So some of these pens are from other makers. Some of them are from myself. There's a pen that I made that I could not give up. So that's I made that, and I decided right away I was going to keep it. It happens. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. I also have 4 or 5 pens from other makers in boxes waiting for an unboxing. I need to do an unboxing video, and these are all stuff from people I bought stuff right after Florida last year. Yo, Pen Kobe, you want me to sand and finish those hybrids? I should get to it because they're made. They just need to be sanded and polished. They don't even have, no repairs or anything, just sanding and polishing. Yeah, Russell, those are called hybrid blanks. So usually you get stabilized burls, and then you cast it with the resin all at the same time, cut it in blocks, and it's very popular. Yeah, Russ. We've been having some discussions around here lately, mostly me and my wife, and it just I have so many passions. You probably maybe saw some of the posts of the pool cues. That I've been wanting to make pool cues since I started making pens, but pens took over so much that pool cues have sat on the back burner. But now that I'm semi full-time pens, which is kind of scary because sales are almost non-existent compared to last year. I'm going to do some more hobby stuff, which is the pool cues. And those skills are all transferable. They're all about working with material and fine tolerances and stuff. And I've got some ideas for some wood pens eventually too. I could use a couple more people, but I can't afford a couple more people. The things I could do if I could afford a machinist for even for 6 months. Just somebody who could take my ideas and run with it while I did all the rest of the things. All right, if anybody wants to see anything else, let me know. If you have any more questions for me, I love answering people's questions because I find making pens fascinates people. I have a lot of people who, when I say you make pens, they're like, what? They don't understand. Well, I just happen to have a nice stock of ebony. I lucked out a few years back and got some really nice black ebony in an auction. Retired guy was getting out of pen turning, but he was a bit of a wood hoarder, so I collected a pretty good bucket of nice ebony. I'm working on a liner now. Then I have some other really nice woods to try too. But it's one of those things. Do I work on that, or people want me to bring back the Parnell and the Ritchie because they have clips? And it's basically like making a new pen because I haven't made them in so long. I haven't made them on my current machine, so I have to totally re-engineer them. So I think that's the next thing I'm going to do. And then after that, I'm going to make the liners so I can make wood pens. So I should have wood pens hopefully by Toronto. Maybe I'll launch them at the Toronto Pen Show. No problem, Claire. I'm always happy to show pens. That's the other thing. People, I get emails all the time that they can't really tell from the picture. So if there's a particular pen, I can always show you, send you a little video as well. I wish I could post videos of every pen on the website, but it's just not. It's not easy. It's not happening. Well, if there's any more questions, you want to see any more pens, I'll give it a couple more minutes and then I'll probably sign off. And yeah, I hear you, Pencopia. It's like me and material. There's so much material I want to get, but I had to stop ordering it. But they do make it does make beautiful pens, so. Hey Dan, how are you? Dan from Rolling Stock just signed on. He's been extremely helpful in the development of London Pen Co. He's a trained machinist. He's one of the machinists that I was talking about earlier who helped me develop a lot of my machinery techniques. Dan, I was showing him this pen from our group build. Yeah, the weather's been nice. Went for a nice walk this morning. I'll probably go for another one tonight. Can't work on my lathe, so may as well. I think you guys all made kit pens with them, not fountain pens. They were saying they liked the material, so we may have to try that process again. That top secret process that you guys developed in about 5 minutes of being in my shop. It is a process that needs multiple hands, though. I don't think I could do it myself. Okay, everybody. If yeah, yeah, it was a that was definitely a different one. The blue is so clear in it. I think it's we should definitely do that again. I may come back on later tonight and do a kind of a follow up. I think probably poor timing to do it at 3 in the afternoon, but I have a bunch of international people that always like to join, so if I can do it earlier, they can join. But I may come back tonight and do a little bit as well. Maybe show my maker stuff. I might do a maker pen night to show off that whole collection as well. All right, if nobody else has any questions, I'm going to sign off and get out of here. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.